Feeling fear about the future? Here's what INFJs and INFPs need to know. This video is the second video in a mini-series I'm doing to launch my new class coming soon called Soul Shift. In the first video in this series, I talked about the Cocoon Phase. Specifically, what is the Cocoon Phase and why are so many intuitive introverts coming out of it now? Well, the Cocoon Phase, just to give you a brief summary, is when you've been in a period of internal reflection for quite some time. And that's because big internal changes are going on under the surface. People outside, on the outside of your life, your coworkers, your friends, your family, they usually can't see these changes happening because these are deep internal changes. And one big thing that tends to happen when you're in the cocoon phase is you look around at your current life and you see all the ways it's not in alignment with who you really are anymore. So, you know you need to change your life. That's usually the first big epiphany that comes with the cocoon phase. You know you need to quit that toxic job. You know you need to end toxic relationships. You know that you need to finally start following your dreams. And this period of time can have a very now or never quality to it. It can feel very urgent and pressing. Maybe outside circumstances have happened that will force you to make a choice if you've been putting off that choice for too long and not wanting to deal with it. Suddenly, it's like the choice is made for you. You get laid off from the job. The partner that you were thinking about leaving leaves you. The friend group that you knew wasn't really in alignment with your needs, suddenly they start to fall away and you haven't even done anything. Things like that. It's very common for those types of things to happen when you're coming out of a cocoon phase and you know that you need to change your life. You know that you need to figure out who you really are. So what happens is that this can be really exciting because you are entering a new era in your life, but a lot of fear comes along with it. And that's really pretty normal. I want to emphasize that for anyone who's in a cocoon phase right now or just coming out of it and is feeling that great fear, that great uncertainty, that is really common. That's just part of it. Now, added to this is the fact that many people are feeling fear about the future right now. Not just people who are making big life changes, but pretty much the whole planet. People are really worried about the economy, worried about politics, worried about the environment. A lot of people are asking questions like, what's going to happen to the economy? What's going to happen to the world? So when you're coming out of the cocoon phase, you're probably dealing with all of those fears. And on top of that, you're asking, what's going to happen to me if I make these big changes in my life? I'm trying to transition careers. I'm trying to transition relationships. I want to move maybe. I want to make these big life changes, but I want to do that in a very unstable, even crazy kind of world right now. Is this going to all work out? So the root of this fear, what's at the very bottom of it, is this belief that you might not have what you need when the time comes, and also that you don't know what you're doing. So you don't have what you need and you don't know what you're doing. So how are you possibly going to make your dreams happen? This is, again, very, very common. When you first start realizing, oh, I've been living out of alignment with who I really am and with my true essence. And now it's time for me to find myself again. It's time for me to really reconnect with who I am and what I actually want out of life. And now I'm seeing these big changes I have to make. How can I make them? You can make it happen. This is possible. All of these things are possible. But you need to know what to expect, and you need to have tools in place to help you navigate this big internal shift you're going through. That's why I'm teaching this new class called Soul Shift. We're going to be diving into all of this and making connections amongst each other for support and increased opportunities. I designed this class based on direct feedback from people on my email list. I sent out an email a few weeks ago and I said, what are you struggling with? Tell me your fears, tell me your problems. What's going on for you right now? And I got so many emails from people who said, my life has been really crazy for the past few years, or my life has been really going through a lot of upheaval in the past few months, and everything feels like it's in transition and the pieces haven't landed yet, and I'm feeling very alone and very confused. I don't know how to navigate this. I'd love for you to teach a class on making these big shifts in life, making a life shift, rebuilding an identity, starting over, finding out who you really are. So that's the basis for this class. soul shift, because we're all really now coming out of the years of the pandemic. And if you're coming out of a cocoon phase, even though you might have been used to really hunkering down and being in a very enclosed environment, now is not the time to hunker down anymore. It's time to emerge. It's not time to ignore the world. It's time to engage with the world. It's time to build connections with others. That's how you're actually going to make this leap from the life you're in right now, where you know that you have to figure some things out and you know that you have to pursue a new path, to the life you actually want, where you're living in alignment. You have to make that kind of leap, and building connections with others, that's going to help you get there, because you're not the only one going through this type of transformation. You actually are not all alone. There are tons of other people who are going through it too. This is the time to actively seek out community with them and opportunity, and this class is a great way to do that. Now, I've designed this class to be intentionally simple. It's 3 weeks, one class, once a week. There are 3 assignments. That's it. You do not have to show up live. You can do the replays and get just as much benefit. I did all of this on purpose because I heard from people, my life is crazy right now. I've got a lot of upheaval. I'm moving. I'm switching jobs. I'm looking for a job. I just got in a new relationship. I just ended a relationship. So this is a class that is not going to take a lot of intense time and effort on your part. This is a class that anyone can do. And like I said, I designed it purposefully to be very simple and easy. No excuses. Anyone can do this. All you have to do is say yes. All you have to do is make the choice to join. You have to actively move toward your life transformation. That's the thing. When you're coming out of the cocoon phase and you're still getting your footing and you're still figuring out what you want the new life to look like, you have to say yes to actively going towards it. You can't just sort of sit there and wait for it to come to you. Or you could really be dragged there by the universe, is what happens to some people who really don't want to go. Is sooner or later the universe comes in and says, well, you're going. You could have gone earlier with much less fuss, but I guess I'm going to drag you there now. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it in a much more easeful way by saying yes and actively participating in your own growth and evolution. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Please stay tuned for the next video in the series, the last video. Is it realistic to follow your creative calling? Which is the big question that comes up right after people hit this wall of fear and then move through it. Like, is this even realistic? Can I even really do this? We're going to cover that in the next video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like to get updates about when the class is launching, or if you'd like to get more content like this. I do a lot of content for intuitive introverts, INFJ personality types, INFP personality types, highly sensitive writers. I cover a lot of topics, so please subscribe to my channel. Please also subscribe to my newsletter. You get a free book for highly sensitive writers, and you will get all the updates and notifications about when this class opens and classes in the future are launching. So it's a win-win. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll see you next time.